Absolutely, 100%. This is regarding Trump referring to Canada as the 51st state. So I wanted to mention this because, the crazy people will go off the deep ends and say, Trump's trying to take over every country in the world. He's a dictator. No, please do not get lost in the weeds with this and let mainstream media or anybody take you down the wrong path. Canada is being run by globalists. Trudeau is a puppet for globalists. Trudeau himself is a young globalist leader. Okay, if you know anything about the World Economic Forum, they have the Young Economic Leaders Club, Young Globalist Leaders Clubs, and they get these people in place for a reason. So Trudeau is hurting his own people, and that should be evident by 2 years ago when the truckers, God bless them, okay, those truckers all across Canada came together, and it just gave you goosebumps watching it, that them on their radios talking to each other, and everybody in Canada across that country was coming out in the dead of winter and just raising their flag and cheering on the truckers, because they went, and what was it, a month or so that Ottawa, that they just sat their semis right there in at their government, like what our capital is. And yet they were ripped apart by the mainstream media, much like the January 6th protesters were ripped apart and sit in jail. And really the people that should be in jail are the people that put MAGA hats on and decided to go cause problems in the crowd. FBI's been known to do that. And that's not a conspiracy. I say that every time I mention that, I want to make that clear. If you look into what the FBI does, they infiltrate groups. That's what they do. They don't hide about that, because they want to see what they're up to, and then if they're up to something they don't want them to be up to, they direct them in a different direction. They infiltrated the Black Panthers, everything over the years. So the people that probably should be in jail for January 6th are not the people that are currently in the jail right now. But this is what globalists do, is make all the innocent people of every country look like that we're the criminals. So when the truckers convoy came out, they weren't only not violent, they were actually feeding the homeless there in Ottawa, and they were doing everything not to disrupt people, but they were protesting. And for people that don't know, Canada falls under the Crown. Every country in the West except for America falls under the Crown. So it would be in the peoples of Canada's best interest to be a 51st state. It doesn't mean they have to get rid of their flag. It's their flag. But it would give the people of Canada more freedom. Do you know what they did to most of the truckers? They took their bank accounts. They put them in jail for protesting. See, the difference with America and the countries under the Crown is, the countries under the Crown will say that you can protest, but the government can take that right away. So in America, that's why our Constitution was written as, you can't take this right away because the government doesn't give it. That's what America's Constitution says, is God gave this right, so no man is allowed to come along and change it. And that's why socialists and globalists have had a hard time in the court system here, because we've at least had enough sane people, even though we don't have a lot left, in the judicial branch that recognize that when you're stepping into an area where our Constitution says it's a God-given right, it means no man can be allowed to take it away. And the socialists and globalists forever have been trying to twist that all around. But under all the other countries of the West, they fall under the Crown. So it means, you can protest until we tell you you can't. And so they went after the people in the truckers' convoy. And they are much under the digital system. So they digitally, closed, put a freeze on their bank accounts. They ruined their whole lives, all for protesting for freedom. So Trump isn't the one trying to hurt any other country here. He's trying to liberate. And this was another post that I didn't put in my short video that you're replying to. That was also in 2018. Prime Minister Trudeau is being so indignant, bringing up the relationship that the U.S. and Canada had over many years and all sorts of other things. But he doesn't bring up the fact that they charge us up to 300% on dairy, hurting our farmers, killing our agriculture. Yeah, Trump from the beginning has been about protecting the farmers, because even though we didn't know it, the farmers have been being screwed over for decades because of globalists. So, and Canada has been being controlled by globalists. So they would have more freedom if they became a 51st state. It's not like any of it would make Canada any less Canada. It just would be, they would be like one of the states to us. I would imagine most of the people that aren't in Hollywood, okay, and that aren't in media, that aren't globalists themselves, would say, no, I would much rather be under, be a state of America than be under the Trudeau system. But this also goes to something else. You see the map here, United States, Canada, Alaska, okay? Do you see right above my hand there, Greenland? Do people remember when Trump wanted to buy Greenland? President Trump reportedly wants to buy Greenland. Time reported similar plans in 1947. So this too is this because of the same reason, to get it out from the globalist hands. That's why. It has nothing to do with Trump wanting to be some dictator over the world. President Trump has talked to aides and allies about buying Greenland. So this is the same reason. It's not because he wants to control all these countries. It has nothing to do with that. It's trying to get the countries in the West out from under globalist control. And here's some of the reasons. President Donald Trump has floated the idea of buying Greenland multiple times. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has called the notion absurd. Just to mention, Donald Trump to Denmark, he's royalty in Denmark. He is. He's never going to mention that because he knows America's not about all that royalty and king stuff. I just like to mention it because of what a coincidence it all is. And then you see the next bullet point, yet Trump's interest in Greenland is just the latest indication of the island's increasing geopolitical importance. It is even drawing the eye of China. So the reason that's important is because God set up the world so that every part of the world has resources. Most of them, most countries have, and some countries have more resources than others. Africa has diamonds, they have emeralds, okay? Some people have oil, all these different things that are important for all the inhabitants of Earth. But globalists that's why they want to pillage the Earth, is because their greed and their gluttonous, is they want all of it. Okay, so it doesn't belong to all of them, but don't tell the World Economic Forum that. So that's what Trump's trying to stop. That's why he was willing to purchase Greenland. Greenland's growing strategic value is linked tightly to the North Atlantic shipping lanes opening up due to melting polar ice caps. Its largely ice-capped landmass is also rich in untapped natural resources. So that's what Trump knows, that the globalists don't have any country's best interest at heart. But because of corporation capture by the globalists, because of regulatory capture by the globalists, that's why Trump who really would want to be in control of the world? Seriously, who would really want a big country to be control of? The responsibility of that is massive. But what he's trying to do is he stuck his neck out on the line here with everything, which is why so many of these countries, the people in them, have supported Trump, is they want out from under this too. All of this regulatory capture, this corporation capture, the globalists have captured everything. It's worse than being under what West countries have been under the crown. It's worse than that because it's taking them into dictatorships. So Trump is about trying to prevent that, no matter what the hateful people say. The hateful people are always hateful people. They will never like Trump. They don't have an interest in liking Trump because they're hateful people. Watch them long enough and you'll recognize that they're just hateful people. They hate freedom and they hate anybody that's about freedom. and they will carry on about how the people trying to protect freedom are the dictators and they're liars.